Welcome everybody to this second masterclass session of the masterclass project from Deezer. I see that we are a lot of people, but there's still a lot of people to come. So what we are going to do before getting into the topic, into the matter, I'm going to share with you a little bit. Hello, I cannot hear any sound. Just checking. Hello, everybody. Okay. Do you hear us? Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Hello. It's amazing to have all these people here with us
Yeah.
today. Well, so basically, what we are going to do is I'm going to make a really brief introduction to the meeting today, to this masterclass, and then I'm going to share and pass the mic to Pauline Lahari, who is our guest, and she will be the one leading you on how to get a job-winning CV today.
Hello.
So just little reminders for you all. Remember that if you have any questions, you have the questions section below. There you can put your questions and also rate other questions from other people. So the more likes those questions have, the more possibilities they will have to be answered at the end of the session. So we'll try to stick to 45 minutes of the presentation and then 15 minutes questions for you. And this session is recorded, so later in the upcoming days, it will be posted in our YouTube channel, Job Teaser EMEA channel, okay? And last but not least, I'm going to present myself. I'm Pablo Garcia. I was with you on the last masterclass, and now I'm here again with Pauline Lahari, who is our guest today. She comes from My CV Factory. She's the CEO from that very company dedicated on helping you to get excellent CVs. And today, we are touching the topic of how to get a job-winning CV. So, Pauline, if you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit before getting into the matter, it's up to you. Thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you, Pablo, for the brief introduction. I'm really happy to be here with you all, guys. My name is Pauline. I'm the founder of My CV Factory. And as Pablo said, we're here to help you build a strong CV, a striking resume, so you generate interviews. So should I start, Pablo, right now?
Yes, as you wish. If you
Okay.
want to share your screen,
Yes, I'm going to share my screen.
perfect.
Here is how it's gonna happen. I'm gonna show you a few slides about a few tips, and then of course feel free to ask anything on the chat if you have any question. So let me share. Hope you see my screen already. So here is the agenda of today, how to package your CV, what kind of keywords you should put in, what kind of color you should choose depending on your sector, on your job title, and how to highlight your skills assets. These are 4 must-have to get a wonderful resume. Let's start with the presentation and how to package your resume, your profile. Let's see here. We'll start with the CV header. As you might know, a recruiter today is spending 6 to 30 seconds on a CV. That means it's really short, and you really need to stand out from the crowd right at the beginning when we open your attached file in the mail. So that means key information need to be on top. The contact must be on top, your profile and objectives, which is a small block, with a few lines about your ambitions, about your professional projects, and about you, actually, what you want to do, where you want to go, and how you are the right person for the job. And then the title. The title is your job title. It's a job you want to do, you want to get. So these three blocks must be on top, of course, and they're key to a CV. The profile and objectives block need to promote your expertise, your skills in a few sentences. So please be specific. We don't want to hear cliche like I'm dynamic and motivated. We want to hear a real skill about yourself, about you and your profile, and how you are the right person for the job you target. The whole presentation, the whole CV need to be easy to read. It must be a good interest for the recruiter and make them want to read the CV all the way around. Because, you know, when we open a CV, we really see and read only what's on top. And if it's interesting, then we read the rest of the page. So you really need to focus on this first, top of page. That's really important, the CV header. That's like a trailer movie, you know, when we go to the cinema, you really like the trailer, then you go to see the movie. That's the same thing here. When we talk about the education part, let's be precise here. You need to write, of course, your name of high school, what kind of diploma is it, do you have expertise or honors, is it an institution, does your school have a certification maybe, or a really nice ranking, worldwide ranking. It's nice to put information about the school sometimes, especially if your school is not really famous, for example. The education part, you also can add, of course, key topics, key subjects that you really like. Also maybe a thesis, or maybe an essay or a papier that you wrote. It's particularly interesting if you're a good pupil to add your average, average grade. That's also a good way to show how successful you are in your curriculum. You of course can highlight the diploma and add any information that can add value to your profile. The education part can be on top of the CV if this is your main asset at this point. But if you had some experience before, internships, summer jobs, anything that can add value to your profile, then maybe the education part can go afterwards on the bottom. So don't be too, let's say, rigid about your education part. It can be on top, but it also can be a bit later, a bit at the bottom of the page. Each profile is different. That's very important to remember also. For the experience, when we're young, like you guys, you can have different types of experience, internships, of course, summer jobs, volunteering experience. All these experiences are interesting in a CV. The whole thing is how you can show the value of this experience. So you must show what you did, your duties, your missions, thanks to action verbs and adjectives that really show the impact of your actions, and then your key achievements, in a way that we can see the results of your actions. Have you been successful in that missions? So you can, of course, talk about any experience as long as you can show how professional you were and how successful you were in the mission. So the key achievements usually are figures. It could be a number of people you managed. It can be a turnover you made. It can be a tool also that you learned how to use. It can be anything that can add, again, value to your profile and the experience. We usually like talking about international on a CV, of course, the language you speak, the travels you organized or you went to, the countries you visited, The whole thing here is to show an open-mindedness, of course. Usually this section is called languages, but you also can call it international. You can, of course, mention your level in English or Spanish, any language you speak, of course. The whole thing here is to, of course, add credibility to that section and show and prove your level. So you can show test results, TOEIC, TOEFL, HSK for Chinese, any score, any exams you had, you passed, you need to write it on your resume. The more you write, the better. So foreign languages, of course, are an asset. Don't think not to write it. It's very good. It's very good. Also, if you are bilingual or B nationality, it also can be something you can write really on top, like as a really sentence, a real asset to your profile. You can also put it under your name or in the contact details, like key information. We can see right away your Chinese native, for example, bilingual English. We really need to see key information that add value to the profile on top. So that's also a strategy to add interest to your profile right away. For the skills, I think the skills are very important today. We talk about soft skills, hard skills. They must appear on your CV. Please choose your skills. Also, of course, depending on who you are, but also depending on the job you're targeting. The skills are keywords, definitely keywords that are asked by companies to recruit. So the skills must be related to yourself, but also related to the position you're applying for. Let me explain a bit later about the skills. We'll come back to it just after this slide. So if I may conclude about the packaging itself, we need to have an easy and enjoyable to read, of course, something personalized and really clean and carefully written with an objective paragraph where we can clearly see where you're going and what you want to do. Something well built, that show that you know how to prioritize also and organize information, because as you might know, a CV is nothing else than a synthetic way of speaking of your life. Please show how you can value your life at this point on a single page. And of course, attention to detail, syntax, spelling, mistakes, design, alignment. Be careful with all these details. They really matter, I think. We are going to focus on the content, on the keywords. So I talked to you about skills. These are examples. For example, you want to work in marketing. You want to put these kind of keywords in your CV. These must appear because, for example, this is a top keywords in marketing that you can find on many job offers related to that job. It could be product launch, communication, sales strategy, seeking solutions, customer your loyalty, marketing plan. In fact, when you're creating your CV, your content, you don't invent, you don't imagine a content. You go to the job offer, you check online what kind of keywords are requested by the company. And if you have these skills, then they must be in your content of CV. That's very important. So this analysis of job offers need to be done before creating your resume. This is very important because all the companies today have ATS, applicant tracking system, which are just a CRM, a recruitment tool that are scanning your resume and making sure you get the correct content and keywords in your resume. So if you don't have those, you won't be selected. That's pretty much it. So please make sure you do have the correct keywords depending on your job title and put them in your resume. Another example for sales could be you could have negotiation, client relations, prospecting, portfolio management, identifying opportunities, also content related to marketing, of course, marketing surveys, client relationships, loyalty, customer, many different kind of keywords, of course. But as usual, go to the job offer, make an analysis of what's in it, and put them in a resume, if you have them, of course. For accounting, this is another example: corporate finance, account receivable, account payable. Yeah, these are kind of keywords we find usually on accounting resumes. Let's talk about the colors, if you don't mind, because usually I see many mistakes about this. It depends on the countries, again, but usually you can add a few colors to your CV. Maybe two colors, let's say 3 maximum. Usually the blue is good for any kind of sectors, sales, marketing, also finance. I think blue is universal, so you can use it for any kind of jobs. The green could be used by engineers, especially environment, global change, climate change, renewable energy. We see that color for engineering and also real estate, usually. We can have a yellow resume, but please be careful. You can use yellow in your resume, but usually the yellow doesn't print well. So please make sure when you print your resume, at least once, it's printed well. Red is a color that we see a lot on resume for finance, banking, insurance, engineering, industrial. So this kind of color is really highly recommended. It's like when you create your company, you create a logo for your company. The importance of the color is key, actually. And you'll see in food, for example, you will never see a red color in food industry. You will more see yellow or orange, because these colors are more adapted to this sector. I mean, many studies are done about this. I'm not going to teach you a lesson about marketing or color in marketing, but it's the same kind of things in CV. Some colors are more adapted to the brain, the human brain, depending on the sector you're targeting. So here is other examples of purple that we don't see so often, but it's okay to have purple on a CV, as long as it's quite easy to read and is nicely printed. It's okay. The pink color is okay for animation, events, communication, marketing sometimes. So you can also use that kind of color on a CV. The whole conclusion here is, don't be afraid to use color on your CV. It's okay to do so. Many candidates today sometimes are afraid of putting colors because they think that the recruiter will think that they are too, maybe too crazy maybe in their personality. It's not really the case. At least in France, you can use color on a CV. I like to highlight on the skills because it's one of the most important block on a resume. Even if you're young, you do have some skills. Even if you're 20 years old or 18 maybe, you do have some skills. You must think about them in your extra life. We don't always speak about professional experience. You can find skills and you can acquire skill in your volunteering experience, your sports experience. You have a life. You've had a life before your professional experience. that you need really to think about who you are and what kind of value, what kind of skill you can bring to a company. You also can add your driver's license for some specific job. It could be important, like sales. Sometimes you need a car. You can add certification. You have had anything that can add specific and details to your CV is a good thing. Your language level is also showing some skills about you. You know, your foreign travels. It can show that you're adaptable, that you can face challenges, that you can also be mobile, maybe, and move to another country to live, maybe as an expatriate. You know, so it's just a section on CV where you talk about languages, but it also can be more than that and show how you are, who you are deeply, in a way like open-mindedness and adaptability, which are two things very important to a company today. We didn't mention the hobbies for now, as so far, but I think they're very important too. You know that the hobbies and interests allow recruiters to get to know you better. We can say a lot of things by just reading that section. We can see personal qualities. You can see how you can commit to a cause or a project. It's also an opportunity, a great opportunity to generate a discussion during the interview. You know, maybe the recruiter will also play tennis like you, and you'll get a discussion about this. And it could honestly could be game changer for a candidate to have the same hobby as the recruiter. Of course, let's say we don't want to see any cliche or commonplace in that section. If you like travel, music, or the movies, well, like everybody else, you know, everyone goes to the movies and everyone likes listening music. So please, again, be specific. If you like running, if you do a sport, just add a few details like twice a week. If you had a ranking playing tennis, if you play the piano, how long, like maybe 7 years practicing. Just add details that really add value to the profile. If you like cooking, for example, you can add Indian style, maybe. I love cooking Lebanese cuisine. I mean, you really need to add details and concrete things that will add value to the CV. Also, we can highlight key skill that you've got from that hobby. For example, if you do karate or judo, you can add key achievements, team spirit, persistence, love challenges. You know, you can add some soft skills that you created. I mean, that you have thanks to that activity. So that also could be a way to show who you are with soft skills from that hobby. I think that's very, very interesting. That's pretty all. Do you have any question maybe about all this? Because we have time together.
Yes, indeed, Pauline, there's a lot of questions.
Nice. Should I just unshare my screen?
Yes, I think it will be
Okay.
better, and then I can propose you the questions. The
Sure.
first of them, I think it will be answered to many people that ask this in chat. And the question is if they will have access to the slides. I think
Mm-hmm.
that along the recording, they will have access to all the content you shared, but
Sure.
maybe we can propose something to also share the slides later.
Sure, no problem.
So, making a little recap of everything you said, and you share an introducing the very first question. We've talked about a lot of styles, colors, and it's a common question whether you would recommend or not any application to do this CV like Canva. And I've seen through the questions also about Aeropass, like they give you templates. What do you recommend for those applications that help you on building a CV?
Of course, I recommend my CV Factory. We are
Of
a job-winning CV online tool, so of course, I can only recommend my company.
Therefore, and then we have answered a lot of questions about other applications. One question which has been across the whole session today is about the picture. Should we put it? Should we not? Do you know any specificity of any market that you wouldn't recommend to put it, or yes, and why?
Okay. The question of the picture is particular. In France, in France and south of Europe, let's say Italia, Spain, I recommend the picture. I mean, it's common to get the picture on a CV. Usually, if you're comfortable with your profile and your yourself, you can put your CV, you can put your picture, and if you have a beautiful picture, you can put it. On the other hand, on North countries, Germany, Sweden, and more international, USA, UK, the picture is not really allowed, I'd say. It's a way of discriminating people. In the US, for example, it's forbidden to put a picture on a CV. In the UK too. So it's not recommended to put it. So it depends really on the country you're targeting, actually, and how comfortable you are putting your picture on your resume.
So we can easily say to everybody here today that first of all, when building your CV, it would be great to know the culture or the country, the culture within the country of the main headquarters of the company you want to apply. So therefore, maybe I want to apply to a position in a Spanish company, but based in England. Therefore, as it's going to be Spanish people, maybe I put in my resume and the other way back. So, for example, it's an English company based on Spain, but it's English. So the culture, because of the culture, I would say better not to put the picture, right?
Let's say we focus on the country. If you're targeting UK, you don't put a picture at all. If you're
Perfect.
targeting France, you put a picture.
Good to know. About people that want to transfer from one sector to other sector, therefore they may not have job experience targeting the desired job. What should they do? Should they put their experience? Not? How should they transform their pitch on their CV?
Sure. The whole thing here is to transform a summer job, something very 2-month summer job like at McDonald's or something like that, or babysitting. You can just write your missions and then just write what you learned from it. It's important to put a sort of professional way of talking about the experience. So you can just add the mission and then you put key achievements or key learnings, and then you put what you've learned here, how to handle a tool, or if you learn to work under pressure. That kind of stuff can be very interesting to put on your CV, to talk about a summer job or a volunteering experience.
Great.
They must appear on your CV, especially if you're young and you don't have a lot to say. Then you must put them on your resume. Of course, the more you grew, the less you'll say about your former experience. So at first, when you're young, you need to see them.
Good. So my CV Factory, of course, could provide all attendees today with a lot of templates, right? Templates of different kind of CVs, because people is asking for different templates. So I suppose that in my CV Factory, you could provide them about these materials, right?
Sure.
Sure, great. Another question would be related about how long my CV should be. I just started saying professionals in HR spend no more than between 6 and 13 seconds per resume. Therefore, which is the extension you would say it's appropriate for a CV?
Again, it depends on the country. In
Okay.
France, it's 1 page maximum. for a young profile. That means if you are, let's say, 40 years old, then okay, you can go to 2-page in France. It's more common in North Europe, Sweden, Germany, again, US, UK, to get 2 pages resumes. Because usually they also have a lot of volunteering experience. While in France, it's not in our culture to get those at your age. So you usually in those countries, you have more to say than French young people, let's say. So that's why also you can have 2 pages, and it's more common to get 2 pages resume. But again, it's the same as the picture. South Europe is more 1 page, and North and US, UK is 2 pages. Usually is okay.
Great. About this the international baggage that all our attendees have today, most of them have no different languages. Nevertheless, they may able to understand, not necessarily to speak. How they can put this level of knowledge when talking about languages, if they don't have any certification, or they feel like I can understand this language, but I don't know how to speak it.
Well, usually I like, you can just be honest and write down that you can understand perfectly, for example. And you can add also that you can watch TV shows, for example, TV series, all in English or all in German, without subtitles, for example. That can show also your level. That's a way that you can talk about your languages if you don't have any scores or exams to show it.
Great. That's great. That's quite interesting. So Andrea is asking us, with a lot of supporters of this question, about what kind of information would you recommend writing in the profile and objective section? You've been quite pushy on being concise and making things clear. Nevertheless, any recommendation for these 2 sections?
Yeah, sure. I'd say the first section, profile and objectives, is like a spoiler, as I said, when you go to the movies. So we want to read the rest of your CV after having read that part. So we must see a few skills of yours, a few skills, and we must see how ambitious you are, how you project yourself in the company. So let's say 4 or 5 lines only on this part. So it's your job now to think about what you want to say, actually, that really will make the difference. So 3 skills, let's say, an orientation, like what kind of job you're targeting, what kind of company. Is it a startup? Is it a big company, a big group? Is it in France? Is it internationally? Where you want to go, and why would I pick you, actually? This could be nice to really think about your pitch here, and why are you different for this job?
So basically, differentiation, I would say,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Great. Let's combine 2 questions in one. What about so basically, are recruiters interested in our hobbies, or should we just say I love e-games, or I should say I play e-games in a team or something like that? How could we phrase, and until which extent this is an interest for the recruiters?
That's a very good question. You can talk about video games and any games that you play, as long as we can talk about it professionally. That means you must have a key achievements on these games. Do you have a ranking, for example? Are you good at this game? What did you learn? For example, I know a candidate. He learned Russian just by doing his game. He knows how to speak Russian because he played a lot of Russian games. That could be a way of bring added value to that section, for example. Maybe you also learned how to do a strategy as a team, because usually you play as a team in a game, in a video game. It could be many different orientation how to put added value to that kind of interest. So
that could be related to any other kind of hobbies, right?
yes,
Sport,
exactly.
as long as we put which is the lesson learned or
As
the
long as you
added
transform
value
it as a
to
professional
our
way.
experience. I see. Apologies, everybody. It seems that the platform went down for a moment.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for returning here. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Me neither.
Big apologies. So I was about to ask you another questions until I reshape everything in my mind. Basically, our guests, our attendees today were asking about the gap years. How do recruiters see those gap years in a CV?
That's a good question too. Again, it depends on the culture and the countries you're from, I'd say. It's very common in England or USA to do a gap year and to just go traveling and experience an adventure. It's less common in France, for example, but more and more candidates are doing it. So I'd say the gap year is a good thing. You must just, as other any section, put a professional content with it. So if you went traveling for 3 months in Brazil, for example, it's a good thing, but you can try to put it in a professional way. You might have met people, you understood better culture over there, you worked your adaptability, you worked your language skills. So any kind of details like that can bring value again to the profile is a good thing.
Okay, great. There are some people asking about their education, about is it when talking about your high school, is it okay to put the name of the high school or not, or you would prefer just to be focused on your higher education
It
instead of?
depends.
Hmm.
I'd say if you're young and you have space on your CV, then you can put your high school diploma, of course. The more you'll get experience and education, maybe you'll put that away. It depends also on your profile and how much experience you've got.
Good. I'm checking other questions because a lot of them are repeating, such as about the pictures, such as about the length of our CVs. Okay, there's a formal question, I would say. CV versus resume. What is the main difference?
It's the same thing. It's just resume is English, is the English way of saying CV.
Great. And we've really answering a lot of questions, and I'm trying to skip and not to
Sure.
repeat. Uh, okay. So imagine that some of our attendees have had different internships or part-time jobs. How would you prioritize them by level of job, by experience? How do you see the best way to prioritize these little experiences? We can call them like that.
That's very important. It's it depends on the job you're targeting in the future. If you're targeting a sales job, for example, and if you had many experience, little experience, summer jobs experience before, you'll try to prioritize the experience related to the sales job you're targeting now. So you pick the one that bring value to your target, which is sales, for example. Same for any other kind of jobs. The main thing is to get a CV that is in coherence to the job, is adapted to the job you're targeting. I mean, if you had many experience, it's not usually the case actually.
Great.
at that point.
I'm looking through the questions, and I've seen at least 3, 4 questions about hello, my CV is 3, 4 pages long. How can I reduce my CV for an application?
Okay. It would be interesting
Content.
to know why the CV is 4 page long. Is it because we are in research and then there are many research papers and essays and stuff like that, like production, publication and stuff like that? If it's the case, then I would recommend to have a link online about yourself, for example, or your LinkedIn profile, where we can see all your publication. Maybe in a CV, it's not really important to get all your publication, all the details. It could be nice, for example, to have a QR code that redirection to your publication online, for example. But it depends. For example, in research, it's a particular sector, and recruiters in that branch know usually that the CVs are 5 page long. So it's okay in that domain, specifically to that domain. But if you're telling me that you're a sales or marketing assistant and you have 4 page long CV, then it's not normal. I'd like to see
Yeah,
why and what did you write on it. And if you wrote too much, then you really need to take a long breath and try to and understand what is really important about my profile. Do I really need to write that down? And maybe the answer is no, and you can just rewrite the resume with less details.
sure. So before the next question for all the attendees, I'm going to send you a poll within the same live stream application, just for you to rate the session. Okay, but for Pauline, again, a lot of questions, as we said in the beginning. There's people with lots of experience, as you said. The research may be related to papers, but others have a lot of experience.
Okay.
Which experiences you would like to recommend to be on the CV regarding your post? The last ones, the most suitable ones regarding the upcoming job, the all of them. Which ones?
Yeah, exactly. You need to prioritize the experience that is related to the future job, that will bring value to the future job. So if you had too many experience, just pick three experiences that will be useful for your future job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Let me see questions. Okay, and I think we are coming to the end. Not yet, but almost. Uh, if if my position requires a portfolio, we have a lot of students with creative profiles. How can I add it to my CV? A link, a QR? What is your?
Yeah, very good idea. A QR, a link, a simple link. Also, you can have you can include them on LinkedIn. Maybe I think there is a way to put some pictures of your work, your artwork. You maybe have a Dribble account that you can add on your profile. Yeah, so a link or just a QR. Yeah, that's pretty good idea.
It's a pretty good idea. Good. Well, I think 2 more questions. I'm checking the chat because the questions from the question section are being. I think we've done through all of them.
Okay.
So, in general terms, what would you recommend? Have a basic template for all your job applications, or to have a customized CV for each application?
Let's say you can have the same design, but with a few differences in the content, depending on the job you're targeting. For one job offer, you might have one CV. For another job offer, you might have one other CV. slightly the same, but maybe the skills will be different. Maybe the skills will differ.
Okay.
Maybe you're targeting a sales job and you're targeting also a business developer job. It's really similar in the job title and the kind of job, but it's not exactly the same in the skills that we are looking for as a recruiter. So you might change only the skills part. It's a lot of job. That's true. A candidate today has a lot of job to apply for jobs because he needs to change his CV depending on the job offer. But it really works if you do the work properly and you change the skills.
Great. I've seen a lot of questions about personal information such as marital status, whether I'm a mother, father, I
Yeah.
have kids or not. That information is interesting, is relevant for our recruiters, not. What do you think about that?
It depends on the countries. Again, for example, in France, it's common to put that on a CV, even if it's disappearing, to be honest. It's forbidden in the USA or UK. No one has to know if you're married or divorced. It's really personal and private. So I think you must really know where you're applying, which country, because the law differs differs a lot, yeah, from one country to another.
Okay. So I think by now it's 10 minutes to 2. We can sum up a little bit for everybody. I know still a lot of questions. I think most of them are a bit more particular to each of them, such as what about this sector, this other sector, this position. So basically, what I brought to my mind, some takeaways would be like, okay, a CV is something that should be accustomed to each application, where you highlight all the experiences related to the job that you're going to perform. Then about the photograph, it seems that depending on the country, it's a controversial point.
Yeah.
The same would be about the colors. Maybe some sectors such as law firms are a bit more restrictive about colorful CVs or not. And then about the format, you really explain well about talk about your experiences, then your education, then about your hobbies, and also try as much as possible to include the keywords that those AIs that scan your CVs will discard initially your CVs. Is that
Yes.
right? Is that a
Yeah.
good resume, or could
Yes.
you add something else?
Perfect. You're a good student.
Yeah, I try to learn. I try to learn. So, if you want to add anything else, Pauline.
Yes, maybe just a note for all the candidates that are listening to us. Let's, how to say, be confident. Don't try to be someone else, someone you're not. Be yourself, be confident. You have skills, you have experience, you have an education. You'll find a job. Try to work on yourself and trust yourself. Yeah, that's how I would end.
If you have more questions to Pauline, she in my CV Factory will for sure help you a lot.
Sure.
Thank you everybody for being here. You've been such a good attendees. Thank you very much for Pauline for all
Thank you
your
so
tips
much. Yeah, I
and your
really enjoyed
presentation.
that.
Have a lovely day, everybody. Thank you very much, and see you on next masterclass.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day all. Bye bye.